She vanished after one text. What police found 3 years later will haunt you before you go. Subscribe for more gripping crime stories. Like for answers, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's dive into true crime together. The summer sun was just beginning to rise over Corvallis, Oregon, when a chilling silence spread through the Wilberger home. Brooke's sister, Stephanie, waited for her younger sibling to walk through the door, but she never did. Hours earlier, Brooke had sent one final text: "Be home soon." It was short, ordinary, and the last anyone would ever hear from her. Her car keys, wallet, and purse were all missing. But her phone, her lifeline, went completely dark minutes after the message. Police were called within hours, and the small college town erupted into chaos. Brooke was 19, bright, athletic, deeply loved, and with no reason to vanish. Volunteers combed forests, fields, and backroads. Helicopters circled overhead. Flyers covered every telephone pole. It became one of the largest searches in Oregon's history. But day after day, nothing surfaced. No clues, no signs of struggle, no witnesses. It was as if Brooke had been erased from existence. Detectives soon began dissecting her last known moments. That morning, Brooke had been cleaning apartments near the Oregon State campus. Coworkers saw her talking on the phone, cheerful and relaxed. Then, in an instant, she was gone. Her phone pinged briefly near a rural stretch of road before going silent forever. Investigators traced her contacts, questioned friends, even interviewed local offenders, but the trail stayed cold. Each dead and only deepened the mystery. As the days turned into months, the once bustling command post began to empty. Brooke's family refused to give up. Her mother appeared on national news, pleading for information, her voice trembling with exhaustion and hope. Police followed every new lead, from reported sightings to mysterious calls, but each turned out to be a dead end or cruel hoax. Even the FBI joined in, adding resources and psychological profilers, believing they were dealing with a skilled predator, someone who had done this before. Then came a shocking twist. In 2004, a woman in New Mexico escaped a violent abduction and identified her attacker, Joel Courtney, a convicted kidnapper and sex offender with a disturbing history. When investigators ran his background, they discovered something that made their blood run cold. Courtney had been in Oregon the exact week Brooke disappeared. He matched multiple witness descriptions, and his DNA was now in the system. Detectives ordered immediate testing on evidence collected from the original investigation. Days later, a match was confirmed. Brooke's case had just turned, and what police would uncover next would shatter every hope of finding her alive. When detectives traced Joel Courtney's past, the full horror of who he was began to surface. He wasn't just a drifter. He was a predator who had moved silently through towns across the West Coast, leaving behind trails of fear and unanswered disappearances. In New Mexico, his capture had come after a brutal attack that eerily mirrored Brooke's case. A young woman grabbed in broad daylight, dragged into a van, and assaulted before managing to escape. Courtney's name instantly set off alarms. Investigators pulled every file they had from the day Brooke vanished. Tire tracks found near the apartment complex, a witness who'd seen a suspicious green van idling nearby, and a partial DNA trace recovered from the scene, all lined up perfectly with Courtney's patterns. It was like he had signed the crime without ever leaving a message. Detectives flew to the New Mexico prison where Courtney was being held. Sitting across from them, he looked calm, almost amused. When asked about Brooke, he shrugged, pretending not to remember. But the evidence was closing in fast. The FBI's forensic team had run the DNA found at the scene again, this time with new technology. The result came back undeniable, a perfect match to Joel Courtney. That moment cracked the case open. Police now knew who took Brooke, but not where she was. The realization hit the Wilberger family like a tidal wave. Their years of waiting had led to this: a name, a face, a monster. And yet, no closure. Prosecutors built their case carefully. They retraced every step Courtney had taken that day: security footage, gas receipts, witness accounts. They found that he'd been seen buying fuel just miles from the spot where Brooke's phone last pinged. Still, without a body, the case felt fragile. But Oregon's prosecutors pushed forward. They were determined that Brooke would have her day in court, even if she couldn't be there herself. When Joel Courtney finally stood trial, the courtroom fell silent. The Wilberger family sat in the front row, their faces pale but strong. As the prosecution revealed the evidence, the DNA, the van, the timeline, Courtney stared ahead, emotionless. When the verdict was read, guilty, Brooke's mother wept quietly, clutching a small framed photo of her daughter. But even with justice served, one haunting question remained. Where was Brooke? And then, years later, the answer would finally come, in the most unexpected way imaginable. 5 years after Joel Courtney's conviction, the quiet Oregon town that had once been consumed by fear began to move forward, or at least tried to. The Wilberger family, though forever changed, continued to keep Brooke's memory alive through the Brooke Wilberger Foundation, dedicated to helping families of the missing. But deep down, one question still echoed in every conversation, every sleepless night. Where was Brooke? Then, in 2009, a shocking call came into the district attorney's office. Joel Courtney, now serving a life sentence, wanted to talk. Through his attorney, he offered a deal. In exchange for avoiding the death penalty in New Mexico, he would finally reveal what had happened to Brooke. Detectives, skeptical but desperate for answers, agreed to meet him. In the interview room, Courtney sat shackled, his eyes cold but oddly calm. He began to talk, flatly, without emotion. He described how he had spotted Brooke near her apartment complex, how he forced her into his van, and how he drove her into the woods west of Corvallis. The officers listened in horrified silence as he gave chillingly precise directions. Every turn, every landmark, every detail burned into their memories. A search team was dispatched immediately. As they followed the directions, hope and dread battled in their chests. When they reached a secluded patch of forest, everything went silent, until one investigator quietly said, "We found her." There, under the cover of years of fallen leaves, they discovered Brooke's remains, exactly where Courtney had said. It was the closure the Wilberger family had prayed for, yet the reality of it broke them anew. The nightmare was over, but peace came at a painful cost. In a final act of justice, Courtney pleaded guilty to Brooke's abduction, rape, and murder. He was sentenced to another life term, ensuring he would never leave prison again. The judge's final words echoed through the courtroom. "You've stolen a life, but you will never steal another day of freedom." For the community of Corvallis, the discovery marked both an ending and a reminder that monsters can live among us, hidden behind ordinary smiles, until the truth finally claws its way to the surface. If you thought this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe, because the world's darkest crimes are only just beginning to surface.